What is up, everyone? This is Soul, and we're doing another episode of Leak Season. Although this time, I'm going to be hanging out here live. I'm doing this live with my stream. It's going to be awkward. It's going to be kind of nasty, but it's going to be totally okay. So, just in case, please like the video, subscribe for more content, and so on and so forth. Just as a disclaimer, just want to let you guys know that when it comes to leak season, I take all of these very, very non-seriously. I'm often going to joke about these. I'm going to make not the most kind comments because the way I look at these, it's all, it's kind of fan fiction. We're all doing this for fun. And so I apologize in advance if I upset folks who are like, come on, dude, this might be real, right? Just like all the other ones are absolutely true. See how quickly I get into that kind of like snark sort of thing? So I want to start off by checking out. I'll start off easy. I'll start off with a logo. Someone somewhere put out this logo. It was on Twitter. Someone was kind enough to link this over to me, so I appreciate it. World of Warcraft Empire of Dragons. So I want to take a look at something actually. I'll open up Photoshop right now, and then we're gonna take a look at some stuff. But first, what to make of this? Not much. It's hard to make too much out of this, except for the framing of this is very cool. It's very cool. Pretty convincing, although it doesn't, but I'm not quite sure what it communicates, if anything. I'm not quite sure what's so dragon about this, but what do I know? Does this center part look like a Deathwing jaw? I don't know. But I'm not seeing so much I'm seeing, spikiness, but nothing so much as in claws, scales, things that would, say dragon to me. I'll open up this file here. I mostly want to take a look at a font. And it's a certain font called Burning Wrath. There we go. Burning Wrath. So this is a typical check that I do where if I see, these sorts of logos and it uses the same font, fake. Done. And we can pretty much move on from there. So let's check it out. Come on. I'm trying to zoom in. Okay, there we go. Does this look like the same font? It is not the same font. Good. Very good. So I noticed that the P it's a little bit hard to see here, but you can see that the P here doesn't match. But now I want to take a look at, let's see. Okay, so it doesn't look the same, does it? Nah, it kind of looks the same. Kind of not, right? Like the S is different. I mean, is it like, do they change the font? Do they, does the Blizzard team, do they draw it each and every time? I made this leak confirmed. Didn't I just kill it? Because the M is different, although this is a big M. Let's see. The A is pretty convincing. The of, that's different. So, yeah, that's totally different. The N is different. It has the same style and vibe. I mean, it could be a different font, but it's just not the same as what they use here. So, think they tweak it for the themes? No, I don't think they tweak it because this is a very, this sort of font, super iconic. It's very much, this is what WoW does in with pretty much all their titles are, use this sort of font. I can't imagine them changing Yeah, I don't see this being a change. Whatever the case, though, I'm still kind of a fan of the design of the logo itself, or the framing of it. It's pretty neat. As for Empire of Dragons, that sounds like a stupid title. Okay, maybe stupid is being a little bit mean, but it doesn't sound like a very good title. Empire asserts that you are recognized by the planet, or that at one point you were recognized. At one point, the Pandaren Empire was recognized. At one point, the Ogre Empire in AU Draenor, at one point that was recognized. So Empire, yeah, I don't know, like that doesn't quite sell me. Battle for Azeroth is also a stupid title. Sick burn, man. Remember we had leaks of Mists and everyone said how stupid it was who would make a name with mop shortcut. No, I'm mostly stuck on the notion of Empire. Because historically, nothing that we've seen asserts that the dragons had an empire. So it's kind of like it's kind of like when I was dissing one of the other expansion names, Return of the Dragon Isles or something like that, and I was like, wait, they were gone? Return of the Dragon Isles asserts that at one point they were here, but as far as I know, they were never here. The new Tiger Chinese New Year mount is showing up on the year. That's cool. We'll save that for later. So it's a cool logo. It's a very well made logo. But anyone with the talent can make that, but I don't see an expansion called Empire of Dragons. Let's move on. Flight of the Dragon Isles. Let me make this thing a little bit bigger. I think a little bigger so we could all follow along. Fun time. Okay. Tenno story. The events of Shadowlands have had an effect on Azeroth, and the absence of its heroes did not help. Enemies rise as the defenders are gone. Twilight Cult has revived Chromatus and brought him to the Twilight Highlands to breed with captive dragons. Holla. Infinite dragons have started appearing, and Chromie has located Nosdormu, who is searching the timelines for his new death since our time shenanigans have interfered with the one he originally saw. That's kind of plausible. His new death is at a time nexus, and he stops his own sacrifice death to save Chromie and names her the new bronze leader. Oh no, Galakrond is back. His bones have absorbed energy from the rift to the Shadowlands and absorbed enough energy from the surrounding scourge to revive himself. So he absorbed death energy to revive himself, and nobody knew. The Scarlet Crusade has returned and led by the true Prince of Lordaeron, but he seems ... strange for a pure human. What? The Scarlet Crusade has returned and led by the true Prince of Lordaeron, but he seems ... strange for a pure human. This doesn't sound like a leak. If you're leaking, you're giving information. You're not teasing information. This part kind of loses me too, the very first part. The events of Shadowlands have had an effect on Azeroth. The absence of its heroes did not help. Enemies rise as the defenders are gone. But the thing was that it's not like in the Shadowlands story, we weren't locked in the Shadowlands. We weren't stuck there. We could leave. People come and go. People have been coming to the Shadowlands to be like, hey, where's Taronda? Where's my girl at? That sort of thing. Which is kind of saddening because it's like Chandris went over, but what's his face? Antlers. Malfurion didn't. What a jerk. Malfurion's probably like, she's fine, dude. She's capable. I'm going to bed. I'll see you in the next expansion. And that's it. Or, I'm concentrating on making sure people are okay. That probably sounds more plausible. Rathian is trying to unite the dragons of Azeroth to protect the planet like the aspects were supposed to. Some flights need convincing, which will happen through the leveling experience. You know who else was supposed to protect the planet? The Keepers. Thanks, Keepers, for helping us out through Legion, although some of them did help. So we're going to, of course, the Dragon Isles, a new continent with zones that unlock in patches. Oh, that'll sit really well. A new continent with zones that unlock in patches. Time gating. 2 zones at launch containing 2 dungeons and 1 of 2 launch raids. A Black Dragon zone that is home to a civil war between a group that are uncorrupted and accept Rathian and another group that see Rathian as a usurper led by an unseen corrupted Black Dragon. So, surprise, there's hella Black Dragons. There aren't just 1 or 2. 1, I believe, in Outland and Rathian. No, there's a whole flight of them, apparently. I'm not too bent over there only being 2 zones at launch. Having a number of zones, that it's like having levels. They just help to dictate kind of setting and also pacing. One of those 2 things. So having only 2 zones, that doesn't really bother me too much, but only 2 dungeons? Yeah, that is a bad idea. The other zone is controlled by a Draconoid-style humanoid and drakes similar to Stormheim drakes, and we have to restore the original leader that is a weakened green dragon plagued by a fragment of nightmare. That's familiar. Each patch adds a new zone dedicated to a flight and the end of a threat. That doesn't sound so great. The 2 dungeons is like, bitch, really? 2 dungeons? We're used to 8, 10, something like that. And at least my opinion here, releasing dungeon, apart from mega dungeons, releasing dungeons as the expansion goes along, not a good idea. As cool and iconic and as cool and thematic as like Pit of Saron and Halls of Reflection and the other one, Forge of Souls, as cool as those were for its time and coming out with the timing as the story progressed, it was still kind of too, because you were only enjoying those dungeons for that long. Same thing for Cataclysm. You had those timey-wimey dungeons, all the time heist shit going on. We only enjoyed those for that long. And so seeing those sorts of and the way that that translated to Legion with Mythic Plus in the mix, that didn't work out so great either. Again, my opinion. Cathedral of Eternal Night and the Argus one as new dungeons introduced for just 1 season. I'm very skeptic on that sort of approach. Anyway, new class, Talon Guard. 4 specializations, all based on the dragon flights, mail armor. The intro starts at level 57. You start as a member of Rathian's elite and go training, gaining power from the other flights via essence artifacts. And you run into the player character at certain points, ending with a cinematic set at the beginning of the Shadowlands pre-patch. That's a pretty neat premise. Very flashy, uses animations that become more visible the more you build draconic energy, similar to Void Farm. Oh, that's going to sit really well. That's all you got to say. That's all he's got to say. New class, 4 specs, nothing else. Come on, man. At least try to sell us. Level cap is going up to 70. Talent tree reworked for every 10 levels. Kind of makes sense. Leveling takes place in old world zones. Oh, so that's why they're saying no new zones, because leveling takes place in old world zones that use the phasing tech used. They use the phasing tech used in BFA. What was the phasing tech used in BFA? This This internal senior designer person barely knows what they're talking about. Shadowlands added to Chroming Time. Chroming Time is now 10 to 60. Makes sense. Shadowlands is required for new players now. That wouldn't make sense to me. Hey guys, welcome to the world of Warcraft, where choose your faction, Horde or Alliance, and blah blah blah. But now let's go off to the Shadowlands, where none of that matters. None of that matters at all. Nah, man. Yeah, I definitely don't think Shadowlands should be the thing for new players to get into. I think BFA is like okay. But having it be Shadowlands, nah, that doesn't quite communicate to a brand new player what the world of Warcraft is. And that's a big and that's a big critique on why a lot of folks don't like Shadowlands, because it's so disconnected from what regular Warcraft is. Anyway, new leveling path uses the threads of fate after you complete the first go that ends around the Bronze Dragonsworn or Galakrond not finalized. Okay. New system. Dragonsworn. Dragonsworn. After you complete the leveling experience, you will pledge yourself to helping empower the flight of your choice. Somewhat Covenant, but the focus is to restore all 5. Adds more world buffs and dungeon buffs like in Shadowlands instead of player power. Remarkable. Bronze Flight lets you get Time Lost Chest. The Blue Flight lets you get Arcane Treasures. So it's treasure stuff. Bronze is Egyptian themed. Black is Rocky and Fire themed. Red is plate style with intricate weapons. Blue is mage style with an elfin design. Green is druidish green and nature. Really exciting so far. You use a currency from sources similar to Anima to power up the flight, unlocking the bonuses. The capstone is a passive bonus. Once you power up all 5, time gating, you get a new ability. Patches will add more cosmetics and zone buffs. The plan is to have 8 planned dungeons, 6 leveling? Bro. 2 zones at launch, containing 2 dungeons. So I'm trying here. So does this dude mean that like some of the old zones are gonna have dungeons, but then the 2 zones are gonna have 2 more dungeons? Or what? 2 max level based on the Dragon Isles, 1 new battleground with a King of the Hill style. Oh, that sounds cool. Unless you're a healer, then you're fucked. Wait, King of the Hill style. That's pretty much, what's it called? Temple of Kotmogu, right? Yeah. A Scarlet Crusade dungeon reveals that the heir to Lordaeron is a familiar character. Just say it, dude. You're leaking. Just say it, man. 2 planned raids. The first is a temple that we use to create new aspects that we have to fight. A couple of infinite dragons, with the final boss being an echo of Deathwing. Spine of Deathwing, maybe? Second raid is a Siege of Orgrimmar style Scarlet Crusade, where we cement the new royalty of Lordaeron, and the Alliance gets a new queen. The final boss is the false heir. Reveal stream for Tenno with 825 in the info. Don't believe this until 8.25 announcement of Mop Time Walk and Raid and BOA legendary power books. Come on, man. At least he never edited this. Come on. Like, no one... Did someone point out the 8.0, 9.0 thing? Probably not, because I don't even think they got to the end. Yeah. Oh, no. Oh, someone got to the end. Okay. This is like another 2. Sorry, man. This is a 2 out of 10. This was not... There's some cool things. Not enough, though. Let's move on. Light and Shadow. Tenno Leap. After our return from Shadowlands, we see that Azeroth is nearly awakened but is very vulnerable. Cataclysms shake all the continents as the birth of the Titan occurs. New continent is actually Dragon Isles, but dragons aren't the main story of the expansion. Developers are trying to recreate Legion's success and have both epic and local plot lines. I don't buy into anyone who would make that sort of statement. Yeah, that sounds very odd. Dragon Isles consist of 5 zones, each for every main flight. We're going to see more savage and powerful versions of dragons and new types of dragonkin like turtles, hydras with dragon blood, etc. The Isles are located on the other side of Azeroth, west to Kalimdor. New races are Stonemaul ogres for the Horde. Sweet. And the Rajani Mogu for the Alliance. Wait, the Mogu. I'm not too convinced of that one. I mean, I definitely would love ogres for the Horde, but I can't imagine a lot of folks that are like, dude, I hella want to be Mogu for the Alliance. Yeah. New systems is an attempt to create an adequate version of Shadowlands systems. There's so much projection here, dude. Dragonflight work essentially like Covenants, free switching from the start, lessons learnt. Okay. Bronzeflight Isle will contain a sort of reworked Torghast in the form of a time-traveling temple. Infinite timeways with various instances of Azeroth past, like the First War, Second War, etc. Plans are to make it epic and remove the grind, greater scale, up to 20-man parties, historical bosses like Alcron, Medivh, etc. Okay, this sounds cool, but let me reread this because it lost me really quick. A Bronze Flight Isle will contain kind of Torghast, a time-traveling temple, infinite timeways with instances of Azeroth's past like the First War, Second War, etc. Plans are to make it epic and remove the grind. I guess that last part sort of loses me, but it seems cool. Right? Infinite Dragonflight is one of the main local antagonists, other than being a faction of hostile dragons who pretend to be Azeroth's lieutenants and caretakers. They will be the main antagonists in the starting raid. Also, there will be a time travel raid in later patches. Fuck, I hate time travel. The main conflict is not about dragons. Light and Shadow are assaulting Azeroth to claim the Titan's power. Yeah, finally, we're getting to that. The Alliance is at the brink of civil war, with Turalyon refusing to return the crown to Anduin and being distrustful of Kalia, the new queen of the Forsaken. He's under the influence of the reborn Scarlet Crusade and will open a portal to alternate Draenor and let in Yrel and the Army of Light. They will take over Stormwind. Taking Stormwind back is a raid later into the expansion. Raiding Stormwind. That sounds like a pain in the ass. Like, I remember doing horrific visions and stuff and how there are not a whole lot of open enough areas for there to be a raid. So fighting there feels like it'll be a pain. I guess there are certain areas that are like a bit more opened up than others, but sounds like a pain. I'm sure they can figure something out. Arathor will be a central character of the expansion. Arathor? Arathor. Like the son of Turalyon and Ilaria? Is that his name? I thought, or was it Arator? I forget. They figured out for Siege of Orgrimmar too. Well, Siege of Orgrimmar, that was very open. At least, well, the first 3 bosses were somewhere else entirely. There was a boss right in front of the gates. I'm sorry, there was a boss on the shore, which was pretty open. There was a boss at the gate that was also pretty open. They just kind of fenced things off. There's a boss right in front of Garrosh's house. That was pretty open, although that got kind of weird in some places. And then after that, then it went to like, it went down to an instance, to not Wailing Caverns, Ragefire Chasm, and then totally new areas. So it could work. The initial impression that I have, reminds me of horrific visions. I'm like, okay, there aren't that many big open areas, but hey, it could work. It could work. Game designers, they work with what's given. Ashara will return, opening a portal to the Void and leading Void expansion into Azeroth. Her appearance will change to a Void elf-like. She will appear on the main poster. Xal'atath will also return. We'll know more of her origins and importance. Of course, she just returns. New class. It's actually a new system developers have been working on for a few years. Test name is Subclass. Actually, a class that is part of an already existing class, but with its own 2 specs. So you start as a shaman, you get to level 10, and then you choose a spec or a Shadow Hunter subclass. It has mechanics that overlap with the general shaman class, but then its own mechanics, more unique than normal specs, and 2 specs inside it. Shadowhunter in particular will have healing and curse specs. They also are planning to implement Dark Rangers, Blade Masters, Wardens, and several more over the course of the next several expansions. That's kind of convincing, but it also seems like a pain too. So you start as a shaman. When you get to level 10, you can either choose like the specializations. So you choose two diverging paths, right? So in this example, the regular shaman, you have enhanced, resto, elemental, but then you go the shadow path, shadow hunter subclass, and then you have other abilities and specs inside it. So some of them overlap, some of them not so much. I guess the problem, if you're adding 2 specs instead of just 1, is that I question how iconic would you be able to make that specialization in a class, in an already existing class. So it's like, what more can you do with shaman to make them a little bit more different enough? And I'm not sure. Subspecs are a popular idea, though, or at least, or either subspecs or I mean, what this really sounds like, though, is just 2 more specializations. Why even call it a subspec? The way that I'm seeing it, it's just another spec. Which, cool, okay, I could see that, but why call it a subclass when this is what it is? Anyway, the idea behind this is to implement more iconic racial characters like Shadowhunters, Dark Rangers, and stuff that are familiar and popular, but at the same time, not big enough to fit an old idea of a class on their own. Lore-wise, we make some sort of Children of Azeroth, taking place of class halls. It's a place where trolls teach other races secrets of Shadowhunters. Orcs, Blade Masters, Night Elves, Wardens, yada yada yada. Subclasses will still be limited to 2 to 4 races, so you must take certain race class combos to unlock the subclass. So not only, that's gonna piss people off even more, because then you're gonna feel like, okay, guys, I can be an orc shaman or a troll shaman, actually, let me walk this back just a tiny bit. Let's go with orc and troll shaman. I can be an orc and troll shaman, and they can be all of the specs, but a tauren shaman cannot, because race restrictions. And it's not even so much a matter of, hey, I want to be able to be this class and I can only be this race. It's more like, hey, I want to be this spec, but I can only be this race. And so that kind of flies in the opposite direction, where people are clamoring for more race class combinations. Something like this would piss people off. And I'm sure someone would say, yeah, that's typical Blizzard stuff to piss people off, right? There will be an analog. There'll be an analog of artifact weapons from Legion, but this time not one spec, but one per class and subclass. It's way complicated, dude. A corruption system. Actually, two at once, light and shadow. You should choose wisely when combining light and void-touched items as a conflict with each other, but also give insane boosts. You can also pick purely one of these, but end up being brainwashed by light and shadow. This is promised to be a key mechanic of the expansion. This sounds cool, though. If there are, flavors of, I'm trying to be as surface as I can here, but just like the premise of having items that will align you one way or another. Have more of this item, you go this way. Have another of this item, you go another way. I don't know if gear is the right way to go. I think if they were to do a feature like that, it should just be something that we can immediately toggle. I want to go this route, and when I align myself this far, I unlock these things, or I want to go this far and I want to unlock these things. Tying it to gear has been historically very, very controversial. By tying certain powers to just gear. I've long have dissed on Blizzard for removing glyphs, or major glyphs, I should say, because the way I'm in my headcanon, they removed major glyphs so that way they can put something similar in anything else that they do. So major glyphs are what turned into Legion legendaries. Major glyphs are what turned into Azerite traits. Major glyphs are what turned into soulbinds and that sort of thing. When it could have just been managed by something like glyphs, and that could have just followed us from expansion to expansion. But no, they wanted to have something entirely new and thematic for the expansion, and that's what they decided to do. Last part, they put all money and effort on this, scrapping a huge part of Shadowlands and hope to make a bigger, better Legion, all or nothing. I love the projection here, but this gets a 3 at best. Better than the last one, but this was still whatever. Next, Tenno, the Final Titan. So for starters, 9.2 will release in late February, while Tenno will be revealed in March. Very possible. The Deluxe and Collector's Edition rewards will be available from the pre-order right after the announcement. Those rewards include a new transmog set based on the Draconic Flights, available in 5 distinct tints. An Emerald Dream-inspired green drake called Emerald Guardian, with a special animation allowing it to shift between our reality and the Emerald Dream, and a new pet named Muskie, based on the Musani, a weasel-inspired race native to the Dragon Isles. Now this sounds like a convincing start. All of these are plausible. The kinds of things that we would get from a pre-order. This sounds pretty convincing. Let's move on though. After the ultimate fight against the jailer on Zereth Mortis, it is revealed that he has drained Azeroth of almost all her life force, causing the Emerald Dream, which is revealed to entirely rely on her, to slowly collapse with our reality. We return to Azeroth only to see our world is in complete disarray as the collapsing Emerald Dream is radically altering reality around us. We follow Rathian on his quest for the legendary Dragon Isles to seek the aid of the Dragonflights, hoping their knowledge about the planet and the Titans will be enough to save Azeroth. Still not bad. Future content patches will focus on a few of the remaining Dragon Isles and further revamps across the old world, like Quel'Thalas and Stormwind are next. I love Blood Elves, but I don't see any reason. You gotta sell me hard if you're gonna take us back to the Silver Moon. New level cap is 70. New continent are the Dragon Isles from 65 to 70. Interesting. New zones Traldanoth. Thaldranoth. What? That doesn't sound right. This is Thaldranoth, right? Thaldraneth. I don't know how to pronounce it. Sorry. But yeah, yeah. Did anyone point this out? Is he fake? That was a scrap zone in Legion. It wasn't scrapped, but it was like right there though. Yeah. So even the commenters are pointing that out. So this is like, whoops. I mean, who knows? They can retcon their any direction they want, but revamp zones, Ashen. But let's read on though. Revamp zones, Ashen Vale, Fellwood, Winter Spring, Mount Hyjal. So just Kalimdor stuff, huh? They did more. Tearsfall, Lordomir Meadows, Hinterlands, and Eastfield. Eastfield sounds familiar. New capitals include Nordrassil and Nordrassil. Okay, so Hyjal. Okay, Hyjal and Lordaeron. That's not no new race or class. Bold, very bold, leaker. Plausible. I'm not convinced by no new race though. It's been a while. I think that, I mean, maybe we won't see a new race, but we might see a current race become playable. Please not Covenants though. 7 new dungeons. Oh, they thought up the names. Defense of Timbermaw Hold. Cute. Genthalor Ruins. Genthalor, Ruins of Darnassus. Oh, that'd be a dope dungeon. Ruins of Darnassus. Lots of ghosts. Lots of just killing the rest. Putting the rest out of their misery. No, actually, no. There shouldn't be any ghosts, because all of them should have been like, vacuumed up and thrown into the maw. So, Scarlet Crypts, Onyxian Depths, Chromatic Archives, Galakron's Demise, Dunes of Mazora. These are some convincing names. I like these. 2 new reigns: Stratholme's Barricade and Hearts of Illunaria. Interesting. Wow, that's a lot of that's a 13 boss tier. It's a lot of dudes to kill. 1 new arena, Jadenar's Pits. New customization for all races. Emphasis on the allied races, which has not yet received any additional customizations. New class customizations. Emerald Dream Druid forms. Chronomancy spell effects for mages. Dark Ranger spell effects for hunters. Elemental forms for shamans. Glyphs, I hope. New abilities based on the 5 flights obtained through the new progression system called Path of the Aspects. That sounds like too easy of a lift, but also plausible. New mechanic: Living World and Dreaming World. Random, phased, and interactive events happening all throughout the revamped zones of Azeroth, where the Emerald Dream is collapsing into our reality. You need to reach specific objectives in order to unlock the next rank of rewards. This is available to both solo players and groups. Cross-faction groups are unlocked through an epic quest chain at level 70 involving Jaina, Tyrande, Thrall, and Kalia. Once unlocked, this applies to all past and current content and for all characters. None of this makes sense. None of it. Like, it was cool, and then I'm like, wait, what are these words? Yeah, what are these words? So the problem that I have with leaks like these is that they reveal too much, because this person, I like that they didn't even try to premise themselves on where this information came from. So they know when the reveal is. They know the story, they know the levels, they know the names of zones, the names of dungeons, they know what's going on with races and classes. They know some of the features, but clearly not all the features. It's one of those things, like I say a lot, it's one of those situations where what kind of person knows this much information? And if this was real, then internally Blizzard would know almost immediately who it was, and so they get shit on. What kills it for me is the zone. Like I said, they could retcon whatever they like, but I think this is the crack in the armor that makes most of this kind of fall apart. Like, whoops. Shouldn't have done that. I would wonder though if they did want to redo Hyjal and make it into a more bona fide capital, how much would they be able to do in that area? I guess they could do a lot in that area where Ysera is. When you first zone into Hyjal for the very first time during the Cataclysm days, it's a pretty big area that they could work with. They could have a bunch of stuff that extends over that lake and whatnot, and under the tree. Does it just clean out the Firelands part? The real and Emerald thing would work like visions. Okay. Can't be Ian. The word so isn't used as much. Right. Let me reread this. Living and dreaming world random. So it's random, phased, and interactive events. Reach objectives to unlock the next rank of rewards. I guess that sort of makes sense. I think I get what you're saying there. Yeah, this one's not bad. I think I give this one, like they really fucked up with the Thaldrana thing, but this one gets like a 5. Yeah, I'm gonna give this one a 5 because a lot of this stuff was very well worded. I like the confidence, and a new pet named Muskie based on the Masani, a weasel-inspired race native to the Dragon Isles. Like that sounded so casual, like, yeah, let them know what's going on. Yeah, this is not bad. One of the better ones. And I think this is the last one. The Might of Azeroth expansion. What's a 10? There is no 10. That's the secret. I'm not going to make this fancy. I'm just going to give you the straight facts. I mean, this person might have listened to what I was saying. So, the Jailer succeeds in changing reality and turns Azeroth into a dark being hell-bent on destroying itself. Ooh, that's a different take. The champions of Azeroth will need to work together to stop the world's soul and save Azeroth. Azeroth will be the main villain of this expansion and will be on the box cover, which will be shown this March. The expansion is slated to release this December, but a delay is possible. That's all plausible so far. There are various themes in the expansion, including dragons and the Emerald Dream. The champions of Azeroth will work with the Dragon Maw clan, and a new class will be available. There will be 3 leveling zones at launch and a max level zone. The main feature of this expansion will be Mythic plus Time Walking added to Burning Crusade, Watlig, Kata, Mop, and Wat dungeons, and Time Walking will be rotating weekly and separate from the weekly events. The other main feature is an integration of Hearthstone into WoW. You'll be able to battle NPCs in-game and collect cards in a new collection tab. So, but this sounds neat. I think that's a very different take that I didn't really think of. The Jailer succeeds and turns Azeroth into a dark being hellbent on destroying itself. Yeah, I think that sounds pretty rad. That after doing everything that we could to save the planet, now we need to stop it from killing us. It's like, guys, we fought everything else. We fought demons and gods. We fought each other. What's left, guys? The planet. Yeah, let's fight let's fight the planet. Magni will be like, champions, we have to cause more wounds to the planet, and that'd be hilarious. It's not going to happen, but this is a really cool sounding plot. Very Mythic Plus heavy. Like, this dude's like, yeah, I gotta beat off my Mythic Plus boner. We gotta have Mythic Plus everything, which is a big job. It's like, hey, we're gonna add Mythic Plus to things before Mythic Plus became a thing. And well, actually, let me turn this back just a tiny bit. So maybe Mop and Wad might be easier because these had challenge modes and that had, maybe there's something there. But as for these seem a little bit. These might be a little bit tougher. They not tougher, but there's just gonna have to be a lot more work that'll go into making those previous expansions be a Mythic Plus thing. Time walking will be rotating weekly and separate from the weekly events. That I would love. 1 week, that's fine for me. I think that's enough of right. Although, that would really piss people off too. If you think about it, if there was time walking each week and there was a Mythic Plus thing for each time walking, and so you had like kind of 2 time walk-ins, people would be like, okay, dude, so not only do we need to wait for like the good expansion where the Mythic Plus is easier, we need to hope for a decent fix, man, because otherwise that shit's gonna suck. Or if the Mythic Plus schedule is the same as the current expansion, then you would need to be you'd still have to hope for a good combo as well as a good time walking thing. Hopefully that won't count towards your Mythic Plus score, right? That would be a big pain in the ass too if it's like, so I gotta wait 8 weeks for the next expansion to roll around so I can do a fortified on that one, and then the next tyrannical that'll appear isn't going to be for another 14 months. Okay, great design. That's awesome. Now I can see what people are saying, that it won't count towards score and things like that, that it'll just be for the loot. Totally fine. That's just kind of a thought that came to mind. I feel like that would do weird things to participation though. But I don't know what a better solution would be. I'm not quite sure what would be better, because I'm trying to think to myself, would players be splitting their attention between, okay, cool, I'm going to do this so I can get a higher key, versus I'm going to do that so I can get score. Now, ideally you want to do both, but we all have finite time to work with. So I'm not quite, off the top of my head, I'm not quite sure how much would the WoW team want to compel people to make those sorts of decisions. Like what you guys are saying, don't have it count towards the score. I think that would be like the most ideal thing. Hey, he didn't get banned yet, and he claims he's a dev, right? Some of these things sound plausible, but I think the premise and plot just sounds pretty cool. He didn't say what the new class was, because maybe he didn't know. Not bad. Not bad. What's your source? The OP's headcanon. Nice. Oh, and then there's a Hearthstone thing. Right. Now, this is like just out there, which kind of lends to a little bit of the plausibility of this leak, because it's like, what? And I think that's kind of an important thing to add in. Not so much, hey guys, we're gonna do like the other leaks that I was reading off. Hey guys, we're gonna do something that's similar to Covenants based on lessons learned and blah blah blah. No, let's try something just new. Just woo, what the hell is this thing? And I think that this, while it's not very plausible as a attempted leak, it goes in the right direction towards like making people head turn. Like if this feature was in this preview for Final Titan and then they scrubbed the Thal-Dranith one, I'd be like, wow, this sounds kind of cool. This sounds kind of plausible. Oh no. So I'm gonna give this one this one gets a 3. There's a lot of info missing that could make this more plausible, but it has some of those elements in there that make it better. I think the lowest score that I've given was a 2 so far, and the highest was probably I think it was a 6. I think 6 is actually kind of like the glass ceiling. I don't think you can get any better than that. Not until we see pictures, man. I want to see pictures. That's what I want to see. I want to see someone who's dumb enough to be like, hey guys, so I took this picture of the title screen or the logo or whatever, because I want to be able to say, dude, you're at home. Why are you taking a picture of your monitor at home? You idiot. So that's what I can't wait for that episode. That's going to be a lot of fun. But that's going to be it for this episode of League Season. This one obviously came off much more messy because I'm doing this thing live, but I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had fun reading some of this stuff with me and reacting. Of course, like the video if you enjoyed yourself. Otherwise, I'll see you guys for the next thing. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay breezy.